Hello everyone, welcome back to CSE Core Concepts in my series of Artificial Neural Networks. In this video, I am going to discuss about the various types of activation functions used in a neural network model. Now, we have already discussed about the Rosenblatt's and the McCulloch neuron model. Now, in case of MCP model, we have seen that it was very straightforward. Boolean inputs are summed up and they are compared against a threshold value. And then if it decides, the value decides whether the neuron can be fired or not. Now, in case of a Rosenblatt's equation, we have seen that we relaxed some of the rules of the MCP model where we have not confined our inputs to be Boolean, and we are giving weightage to each and every input, right? They are summed up and then they pass through some activation function. This was the term which I had been using in that video. Now, in this video, let us understand what do we mean by an activation function and why do we require to use it. Now, activation, they decide whether to activate or deactivate the neurons. That you can understand. Now, what is the functionality of it is? It is basically for the introduction of non-linearity into the model. Now, what is non-linearity means? Linear means what? That the relationship between the input and output is what? Linear means what? Like a linear regression. As the input grows and the output also grows, right? So that is a linear relationship. But we do not want all the relationships are not linear relationship. Understood? So if you are deciding on whether to perform drilling or not, okay, so that depends on salinity, pressure. So they may not be, the values may not, the relationship between the input and output may not be linear, right? Moreover, this is a classification problem. You have to decide on the class. Right. So, in order to introduce a non-linearity feature in your model, you have to understand the activation function. Because without a non-linearity function, your model will behave as a linear regression model. No matter how many layers you pass on, your output will be a output as a linear regression model. Secondly, activation function will help to normalize the output in the range between minus 1 and 1. Now, why do we require this? Let's say, for example, I have three parameters: age, then let's say BMI, and let's say the blood sugar value, right? Now, I am giving more weightage to the blood sugar value and BMI. So this is input. First input is my age. So that is x1 into weight. Now age can be any value, 36, 46, 80, whatever age can be, right? BMI can be anything, 25, 35, whatever. And your third parameter, that is the sugar level, can be 122, 82, whatever. Fine. Now if you sum, what we do here is that we multiply by the weights. We did it, right? And then you sum. Now, what is the output you will get? You will get some output like 22.5, right? Let's say, for example, you have first value is 2 and the weightage is 3. So, 3 into 2, 6. Plus, next value is 4. 4 and the weightage is, let's say, 2. So, 8. So, 8 plus 6, 14. So, 14 is the result which you are getting, okay, after multiplying the inputs with the weights and then summing them up. Now, 14 is what? Is it a correct answer? No. Are we looking for regression problems? No. We are looking for classification, that whether the patient has diabetes or not. That is what I am looking for. Understood? So that can be, the answer should be either 0 or 1. Nothing other than that, right? So if you are getting results like this, if I am multiplying pressure into some weights, multiplied by salinity to some weight and adding them, I will get some other answer, not 0 and 1, right? So I want to, whatever output I am getting, I want to normalize that output between minus 1 to 1. That is why also we are using the activation function, right? So it should be efficient. So obviously every result we require to do some activation. So it requires some computation. Okay, so now if you have 1 trillion data, 1 million data, for each data point you have to apply the activation function, because the first answer you have to find out whether it is 0 or 1. Second answer you have to find out whether it is 0 or 1, right? So let's say you have 1 lakh records. On 1 lakh records, at each time you are applying the activation function on each and every record, right? So you have to choose very wisely which activation function you are using, which must be efficient, and the computation time should also be less, right? So that you can get faster results. So neuron is basically what? It is a weighted average of the input, and this answer we will pass through the activation function. It will give us a proper output. Understood? So the neuron is basically what? Weighted average. We have discussed in my earlier video also, in the starting of this video also, that you have some inputs, you are applying weights on the input, you are multiplying them, plus you are adding some bias W0, I hope you remember, and this all you are summing them up. Now the result can be what? Like 14, 25, 82, but we are looking for what? A classification problem. So y can be anything between, y can have any value, right, from minus infinity to plus infinity. So this output has to be bounded in the desired prediction. Now, I am not talking only about a binary classification, right? That only the value can be 0 and 1. If it is a multi-class classification, right? So, multi-class classification, as in which, let's say, for example, you have some fruits, right? And you are determining what is the quality of the fruit, whether it is unripe, whether it is semi-ripe, and whether it is ripe or whether it is rotten. Okay, 4 stages of your fruits. So, you have 4 classes here. So, it is a multi-class problem. Understood? So, then you will apply the activation function here on this day answer, so that your output will be bounded in the whatever range you wanted. So without activation function, weight and bias would only have a linear transformation. I told you activation, if you don't know, then the relationship is a linear transformation, or it will work as just a linear regression model. A linear equation is a polynomial of 1 degree, which is simple to solve but limited in terms of ability. Because if you are using a 1 degree polynomial, if you remember in linear regression we have done, right, if you are using the multiple polynomial with higher degree was fitting the curve in a better way. If you go back to my machine learning series and if you see the linear regression problem there, we have discussed that a single polynomial of 1 degree will try to fit the curve, but it won't be so accurate as a higher degree polynomial will have. Same thing here, right? We do not want to restrict ourselves to a 1 degree polynomial or a linear transformation, because then we will not get the desired output, right? So this is something. So let us, with the addition of the activation, the non-linear transformation is executed to capable of solving complex problems. Like if you are doing an image classification problem, if you are solving some problems such as language translations, predictions, so that can be done very nicely. So let us see types of linear activation functions. So obviously like types of activation functions. So obviously one linear function will is one of the types. So it is simple, a straight line. Here you can see it is a line of y is equals to x at 45-degree angle. So this obviously means that the input is directly proportional to the weighted sum of the output is directly proportional to the weighted sum of the input when y is equals to x, right? So in this case, as I have discussed, that no matter how many neural network model you take or the layers you take, output will be a linear activation function, and the range will be from output will be from minus infinity to plus infinity, which we do not want. So let us look at some of the non-linear activation functions. So very popular non-linear activation function is the sigmoid activation function. So it is, the formula is 1 upon 1 plus e raised to the power minus x. If you remember, this we have done in the logistic regression, right? Where the input was continuous but the output was a classification, right? So when you have output in the classification form, that same thing we are doing here using the sigmoid activation function. So mostly it is the most widely used activation function, and basically we have seen that it is a probabilistic approach. So the range will be between 0 to 1, and if you remember, we have also done the practicals that if the value, we will find out a threshold that if the value is less than 0.5, then the class is 0. If the value is greater than 0.5, then the class will become 1. Okay, so the predictions will be very accurate. So this is how a sigmoid curve looks like. Okay, fine. Then comes the next function, which is called as a tanh function. It is called as hyperbolic tangent activation function, also called as tanh function. It is just a shifted version of the sigmoid function, where the function is called as tanh is 2 divided by 1 plus e raised to the power minus 2x minus 1. So it can be also expressed as a sigmoid function, like 2 multiplied by sigmoid minus 1, right? So the range here is between 0 to 1, right? So the sigmoid range is, this is very important for you to understand. The range of the sigmoid function is between 0 to 1. So whenever you are performing a binary classification problem, you can go for a sigmoid function. But if you have a multi-class problem, you cannot use a sigmoid activation function, right? In case of tanh function, the range is between minus 1 to 1. So it is majorly, tanh function is used in the hidden layers. Okay, when you are going from one hidden layer to another hidden layer, in that case you are using the tanh function, whereas sigmoid is generally used in the output layer. Okay, you remember, we have an input layer, we have the hidden layer, and we have the output layer, right? Now hidden layer can be one, hidden layer can be many, right? So input to hidden layer, hidden to one hidden, to second hidden, third hidden, fourth hidden, and finally to the output layer. So whenever in the output layer, mostly the sigmoid function is used, and hyperbolic tangent is mostly used within the hidden layers, right? So this is how it looks like. Then comes linear activation functions are better in giving wide range of activation, and positive slope may increase the firing rate, right? So as the input rate increases. So now we are going for the next one, that is the ReLU function. ReLU is a very interesting function where it is called as rectified linear unit, right? Now it is a linear activation. They will give you a wide range of activations, right, and a positive slope that will help in increasing the firing rate, right? If the input increases, that will give you many proper answers, right? So basically it is defined by ax is equals to max between o and 0 and x, right? This means that the input x is positive, ReLU returns x, right? If it is positive value, let's say x is 5, 6, so who is maximum between 0 and 5? 5, right? So it will return x. If the input is negative, then it returns 0. That means what basically what it is doing is that it is making, if you have any negative input output answers, it will convert it into 0. So negative values outputs are not allowed here. So the range is from 0 to infinity. So minus values are, negative values are not allowed, because you are choosing the maximum between 0 to x, right? So if x is positive, x will be chosen. But if x is negative, then you will go only up to 0. So that means all the negative values are converted into 0 in case of a ReLU function. It is computationally less than tanh, obviously, because tanh you have to do so much of computation for each time. If you have 5 hidden layers, then for each hidden layer you have to perform this computation. So the computation time is more. But whereas in case of ReLU, the computation time is less, because you just have to find out the maximum function. So negative is not allowed. You can see this purple line here. This purple line is only up to 0, right? So negative is not allowed. Negative, 0 and only positive, right? Another variation of ReLU function is a leaky ReLU function, which solves the dying ReLU problem. What is the dying ReLU problem? This problem is called as the dying ReLU problem, when the negative output are just made to zero. That is called as the dying ReLU problem. But in case of leaky ReLU, what it does is that it will not make it zero, but it will make a value near to zero, which will solve the ReLU activation function, right? So it will not make it exactly zero, but little bit less than zero, nearer some value to zero. And then comes your softmax. This is another type of linear unit which is called as an exponential. They were non-linear functions, right? So softmax activation function is used for a multi-class classification. I told you the number one, that was sigmoid. Sigmoid can be used only when you have a binary classification problem. Then what about your multi-class, right? So softmax is mainly at the last layer, that is also used at the output layer. It is basically designed to handle the multi-class classification problem. So what it will do is it will convert the raw output into probabilities ranging between 0 to 1, while ensuring that all the probability equal to 1. Sum is 1. So each class is assigned a probability helping to identify which it belongs to. Now if you have a multi-class problem, then you divide it into multiple thresholds. Understood? So less than this value 0, between this 1, then 2, then 3. Okay. So for each class you compute the probability. That each class is giving a probability. Whichever has the highest probability, that class it is being assigned to. So if you have four classes, that the fruit is either unripe, ripe, rotten, or whatever, right? So in these four classes, eatable and whatever, right? So in this case, you can compute the probability for each class, and whichever is the maximum, it will be assigned, right? So now what is the impact of this activation functions on the model? So basically they are, first of all, the choice is very, very important. See, we have seen so many types of activation. One category was the linear function that will act as a regression model. Another linear regression model. Another was non-linear. Sigmoid is a type of non-linear. Hyperbolic tangent is a non-linear function. Then ReLU is a rectified linear unit. Okay, leaky ReLU. Exponential, this is the third category, which is the exponential function. Softmax comes in that category. So which function you are going to select among all of them, right? Two ways you have to use the activation. One is within the hidden layer and one is at the output layer. So at the output layer, mostly you go for sigmoid or softmax. If you have a binary classification, go for sigmoid. If you have a multi-class, you go for softmax. Okay, and in between the hidden layers, we majorly go for ReLU or tanh. Now if you compare the computational capability of tanh or ReLU, we have seen based on the formula tanh requires more computation, so you can go for ReLU, right? So first primary factor is the convergence speed. So functions like ReLU will have faster, because they are just doing what? They are just providing max value. They are computing, right? They avoid the vanishing gradient problem. About this gradient problem, I am going to discuss it in my next video. What is the gradient problem? While sigmoid and tanh have low convergence, right? That means the output you will get is very, very, very long time it will take to converge to the output. This is what I can tell you in this video. More about this you can check on my video about vanishing, about the gradient problems, right? Second is the gradient flow. That is what we were discussing, that ReLU will ensure better because it will learn fast. Understood? And model complex, in sigmoid it can lead to small changes, right? And model complexity like softmax, they allow the model to handle complex multi-class problem, which you cannot get in sigmoid, right? Multi-class problem. Simpler function like ReLU, leaky ReLU are used for basic layers. Means within the hidden layers, you can either go for tanh, you can go for ReLU, or you can go for leaky ReLU. But for the output layer, you have to go for softmax. So you can say softmax is one of the most popular approach because it can work for binary class also, for multi-class also, right? So this is how the activation functions impact the performance of the model. So I will also cover up a video on the gradient flow and what is the gradient and what is the vanishing gradient problem, what is the exploding gradient problem, which is majorly impacted by the type of activation functions we use. So don't forget to like, share and subscribe to CSE Core Concepts. If you like this video, please press the like button and do share among your friends and classmates. Thank you.